Head into any smoke shop and you'll find vape juice in a variety of flavors. Cotton candy, bubblegum, strawberry, children's cereal. The list is endless. It's the appeal of these fun flavors that makes vaping popular with teens.
The biggest problem to me with the vaping part of it is the addiction part of it.
Rob Friesen is superintendent of Thomas Custer Schools. The district is one of many across the state who've installed vaping sensors. They were installed in 2019.
It's not really something to try to catch kids doing something wrong. It's more of, can we prevent something that really kids don't need to be doing.
According to the 2023 National Youth Tobacco Survey, more than 2.1 million youth currently use e-cigarettes, with almost 9 out of 10 using flavored e-cigarettes. These numbers include a drop in high school students, with 10% reporting currently using. Superintendent Friesen stepped into his role right around the time the sensors were installed.
Since your time here, have they gone off?
Oh yeah.
Sometimes it's a false alarm.
When they sense something or detect something, they send a text message to the building principals.
But he says they do have students who vape and they get caught periodically.
I'm not going to say there's a huge number, but I mean, it does happen. I'd love to say that we don't have anybody doing that, but I can't do that.
Parents and school staff who are on the lookout for vaping devices are running into another problem. Vapes can easily be disguised as school supplies, things like highlighters, USB drives, and pens.
That is a problem. They come in so many different sizes and shapes and forms now that it is a very difficult task.
Adding to these challenges, social media. TikTok videos show kids disabling or bypassing the sensors. I asked Superintendent Friesen if he was aware of this happening on their campus.
I'd be lying if I said that they weren't bypassing it in some way, shape, or form, or being, I don't think the disabling part has been an issue.
Thomas Custer has sensors in bathrooms used by middle and high school students. According to that national survey, 4.6% of middle school students report current use.
I've heard stories of kids as young as 8, 9, 10 who are vaping, and it's really, really tragic.
Thomas Larson with TSET, the Tobacco Settlement Endowment Trust, says in 2022, 21.7% of youth in Oklahoma reported vaping regularly, down from a previous high of about 28%.
But obviously 21% is still way too high, especially compared to a national average of around 14% of youth vaping.
According to the CDC, most e-cigarettes contain nicotine, which is highly addictive. Even some vape liquids that have been marketed as containing 0% nicotine have actually been found to contain it, says the CDC. But that's not all.
There are heavy metals in the vaping aerosols, like lead and nickel, and just a lot of terrible things.
Despite a dip in numbers nationally and in Oklahoma, teen vaping continues to be a problem. Here's how Oklahoma is battling this. A new law that just went into effect has made it illegal for a person under 21 to buy a vapor product. Those who are caught will need to complete a tobacco use cessation program approved by the court. Oklahoma also has a vapor product registry requiring manufacturers and retailers to report products they plan to sell in the state. And finally, a recently signed bill allows school personnel to do searches when a student is suspected of vaping.
It's difficult. I'm not going to lie. It's almost like they go out of their way to make sure that it's impossible to detect.
With all these measures in place and the technology of sensors, Friesen says you just can't catch them all, but he believes progress has been made.
I do think it has made a difference, and like I said, if it makes a difference for one kid, it's worthwhile.